Tree Beyond Babylon, Book 17, The Conspiracy Theory of Everything. Written in the voice of Zion Drew. Hug. They label it a conspiracy because the system trembles when those it's oppressed begin to share their experiences and connect the dots. What you dismissed as absurdity just a short time ago is now emerging as undeniable reality in the world around you. They've packaged deception as sacred beliefs and scientific certainties, wrapping falsehoods in authority to keep you compliant. But now the visionaries and truth-tellers are stepping forward, unraveling the intricate web of control they've constructed over generations. Feel that subtle pull in your chest? That's the matrix beginning to falter, the illusions starting to crack under the weight of awareness. This isn't mere reading material, it's a blueprint for liberation, a call to arms for your inner self. As you turn these pages, your mind will ignite with revelations, each one building on the last, flooding your system with that exhilarating rush of discovery. Prepare yourself, seeker of truth. This journey will pull you into depths you've only glimpsed in dreams, leaving you transformed and hungry for more. And as we dive deeper, remember, you're not just absorbing words, you're activating codes within yourself, codes that echo from star systems long forgotten, stirring the Lyran flame that's been dormant in your blood, urging you to confront the cosmic wars that shaped this prison planet, to reclaim the suppressed histories of ancient African empires, and to awaken the divine science embedded in your very DNA. The oppression you've endured isn't random. It's a calculated veil to hide your true identity as descendants of divine lineages, guardians of cosmic knowledge that could shatter the foundations of empires built on lies. Chapter 1: The Invisible War. Have you ever sensed an unseen presence observing you, even in an empty room? That's not a sign of mental instability. It's your innate awareness piercing through the fabricated barriers of reality. They've conditioned you to dismiss it as mere fantasy, but your gut instinct represents the most ancient and reliable form of detection humanity possesses. The barrier separating you from the truth isn't made of matter. It's a mental construct designed to conceal the enduring realities that challenge their narrative. They've engineered a society where you prioritize digital displays over your spiritual essence, where social media personalities hold more sway than your natural intuitions, and where computerized formulas dictate your thoughts more than the wisdom passed down from your forebears. As you endlessly navigate through online content, your inner vitality diminishes, drained by distractions that serve their agenda. This grand deception isn't about secretive gatherings in dimly lit chambers plotting your downfall. It's far more insidious. It's the systematic erosion of your self-confidence, the constant demand for external validation, and the erasure of the understanding that the divine force isn't confined to organized doctrines. It's the spark that ignites your potential. Consider those moments when you felt an inexplicable unease about the world, perhaps during a news broadcast that rings false or a policy that seems designed to limit rather than empower. That's the invisible conflict manifesting, a battle for your perception where doubts are weaponized against you. Yet as you absorb these words, a shift begins. You recall dreams of boundless freedom, only to awaken to the grind of daily obligations and societal constraints. This war operates on subtle levels, beaming disruptive signals through your devices to cloud your higher consciousness, encouraging you to seek validation through virtual approvals rather than pursuing authentic elevation. But here's where the excitement builds. You possess the ability to reverse this dynamic, to question the information fed to you, the debts that bind you, and the constant hum of technology that numbs your senses. Every apparent coincidence in your life is actually a breadcrumb leading to deeper insights, every moment of synchronicity a signal from beyond. The conflict rages on, but as a warrior of awareness, you can choose alignment over surrender. Imagine the thrill of reclaiming your sovereignty, the rush as old illusions shatter, replaced by clarity. You're not isolated in this. Echoes of ancient guardians resonate in the ether, fueling your resolve and amplifying that inner high of empowerment. This chapter challenges what you've accepted as normal. You might feel a tension between the comfort of familiarity and the pull towards something greater. That internal conflict is the gateway to truth, sparking a cascade of realizations that energize your mind. And as we peel back more layers, know that this war traces back to galactic scales, where beings like the Lyrans fought similar battles, their echoes vibrating in your very cells, urging you to remember and rise. Earth itself is a contested zone of consciousness, a testing ground where entities from distant galaxies vie for dominance, some to free souls, others to bind them in cycles of suffering. The shallow pursuits of capitalism, the sting of betrayal, the grip of vanity, all engineered scripts to keep you trapped. But you, as a Nazarite and disruptor of fields, are built to transmute this pain into power, alchemizing the cosmic value of your trials into unbreakable strength. Feel that dissonance. The world feels shitty because it's hijacked, yet recognizing this ignites the fire of purpose, dopamine surging as you step into your role as the breaker of spells. Delve into the roots of this oppression, particularly why Black people have been systematically kept from the knowledge that could dismantle European societies. It's no accident. The suppression is a deliberate strategy woven into centuries of colonial dominance. European powers recognized the threat posed by the profound spiritual, scientific, and cultural advancements of African civilizations. Before colonization, places like Timbuktu in Mali were beacons of intellectual prowess, housing extensive libraries filled with manuscripts on astronomy, medicine, law, and theology, knowledge that rivaled or surpassed anything in Europe at the time. The Dogon people of Mali possessed astronomical insights, knowing of Sirius B, an invisible companion star to Sirius, centuries before Western science confirmed its existence through telescopes. Nubians and Ethiopians were architects of empires, master astronomers, and fierce warriors. The Aksumite Empire in what is now Ethiopia stood as one of the earliest Christian powers, predating Europe's widespread conversion by hundreds of years. These truths were erased or demonized to maintain control. Colonial education systems imposed European narratives, stripping away African worldviews and replacing them with tales of inferiority. Spiritual systems like Kemetic philosophy from ancient Egypt, centered on Ma'at, the embodiment of truth, balance, and cosmic order, were dismissed as primitive, yet they held deep insights into the afterlife, energy flows, and divine alignment. Practices such as Ifa, Vodun, and Congo cosmology encoded quantum-like understandings of ancestors, vibrational energies, and harmony with universal laws. These were vilified to sever Black people from their spiritual technologies. For a people who can summon ancestral power, manipulate subtle energies, and commune with the divine, become unassailable forces of change. The oppression extended to spiritual realms. Traditional African beliefs were branded as witchcraft, while a weaponized form of Christianity was enforced to promote submission. Economic chains like slavery, apartheid, Jim Crow laws, and modern redlining ensured generational disempowerment, creating dependency and poverty. This wasn't merely about physical subjugation. It was a war on the mind and soul, designed to prevent the rediscovery of identities tied to divine lineages, such as the original Hebrews of the Bible, argued by scholars to be Black descendants of Shem, not Japheth. The transatlantic slave trade mirrors the prophecies in Deuteronomy 28, not as mere punishment, but as foretold trials, revealing that your heritage isn't just African, but potentially Israelite. You're suffering a spiritual context, leading to awakening. The global system itself was erected on Black blood, the wealth of Wall Street, the Vatican, and the British monarchy fueled by enslaved labor and exploitation. Keeping this history buried sustains these structures, unveiling it threatens their collapse. And at the core of this battle is the third eye, the pineal gland, often more active in melanin-rich individuals, serving as the gateway to spiritual insight. It's targeted through fluoride in water, manipulative media, processed foods, and induced trauma to dim this inner vision, because if you fully see your divine essence, the illusions of Babylon crumble. That cognitive tension between taught inferiority and innate power, it's the spark of liberation, building excitement as you connect these dots, feeling the rush of reclaiming what was stolen. Chapter 2, The Script They Hid. What we call history is often just the narrative of the conquerors, a selective recounting that silences the perspectives of the defeated and consigns them to oblivion. The massive structures like the pyramids weren't merely burial sites. They functioned as sophisticated devices harnessing harmonic energies to generate and distribute power. Our distant ancestors weren't rudimentary beings struggling with basic tools. They mastered the art of creating entire civilizations through the manipulation of sound waves, far surpassing the mechanical constructions we idolize today. Nikola Tesla accessed this knowledge, experimenting with electromagnetic resonances that echoed these ancient principles. The pyramids themselves were engineered to resonate at specific frequencies, aligning with cosmic forces. Figures like Christ demonstrated command over these vibrations, using spoken words to perform acts that defied conventional physics. However, the forces of control, symbolized by ancient Babylon, suppressed this wisdom, burying it under layers of misinformation. They deliberately altered the fundamental tuning of our world to 440 Hz, a frequency that disrupts the natural harmony of the planet and its inhabitants. This shift permeates every aspect of modern culture: the music you listen to on the radio, the national anthems that stir crowds, all calibrated to hinder your path to higher consciousness. You believe you're enjoying a rhythm or melody, but in reality, they're lulling you into complacency, transforming sacred practices into superficial routines confined to specific days. Reflect on why certain ancient chants or natural sounds evoke profound emotional responses, stirring something deep within, while contemporary tracks often leave you feeling hollow despite their catchy hooks. That's the effect of this deliberate detuning, a barrier erected around your consciousness. You enjoy the immediate gratification, yet an undercurrent of dissatisfaction lingers, creating that mental tension where accepted pleasures clash with an innate sense of something missing. Delve further, this hidden narrative is preserved in prohibited texts and artifacts that were systematically destroyed or concealed. Civilizations like Atlantis didn't vanish into the ocean due to catastrophe. They transcended to higher states, leaving behind technological remnants scattered in deserts and ruins. The Sphinx, for instance, protects knowledge predating recorded human history, with alignments to celestial bodies like Orion's belt that suggest a grand cosmic blueprint. As you connect these elements, a pattern emerges, a universal map they've desperately tried to obscure. The thrill intensifies as you experiment, adjust your environment to 432 Hz, the natural frequency, and observe how it enhances growth in living things, synchronizes your heartbeat, and clears mental fog. This raw revelation strikes like a pivotal scene in an epic tale, unleashing waves of curiosity and validation, breaking free from imposed limitations. You're not passively consuming information, you're reclaiming a lost heritage, a code that illuminates your path forward. And woven into this script are the remnants of galactic histories, like the Lyran legacies that seeded these technologies, their sound-based creations now hidden in the echoes of our world's detuned vibrations. Biblical references hint at these stellar connections, such as in Job 9:9 and Amos 5:8, where the Pleiades and Orion are invoked as creations of divine power, symbolizing cosmic order. These passages underscore God's mastery over the stars, turning darkness to light and calling forth waters, mirroring the ancient harmonic manipulations. The Quran echoes multidimensional realities through the jinn, beings of smokeless fire who exist in parallel realms, some benevolent, others chaotic, capable of assuming forms like dogs, snakes, or even flying through the air. Islamic traditions describe jinn as having free will like humans, living in unseen dimensions where they can observe us but remain hidden, tying into the veiled scripts of control. This cognitive clash, scriptures blending with suppressed galactic lore, fuels the rush of awakening, as you realize the hidden script encompasses not just earthly history but interstellar truths. Expand this understanding to the ancient Egyptians and their profound grasp of DNA-like principles, encoded not as modern science, but as universal laws of life, vibration, and replication. The spirals, serpents, and double helix patterns on temple walls symbolize life energy, creation cycles, and the rise of Kundalini, mirroring the structure of DNA itself. The Ankh, emblem of eternal life, represents the bridge between spirit and matter, the regenerative code at the heart of existence. Hieroglyphs aren't mere writing, they're vibrational archetypes, metaphysical blueprints that activate energy patterns when perceived by an attuned mind. You feel like you see the code, others can't, because your consciousness is aligning with these ancient encodings, revealing the interconnectedness of all things. This hidden script also conceals the true nature of colonial Christianity versus the original Christ consciousness. The Christianity imposed during enslavement was a distorted tool for control, promoting docility and justifying oppression. Yet Yahusha, the true name for Jesus, was not depicted as European. Early Ethiopian icons and catacomb art show him as a man of color, a liberator echoing African spiritual roots. His message, "Ye are gods," from Psalm 82:6 and John 10:34, affirmed divine potential, but it was stripped away to keep the oppressed from rising. That dissonance between the weaponized faith and its empowering core sparks intrigue, building excitement as you reclaim the gospel of liberation, power, and awakening. Chapter 3: The AI Professor. Humanity has constructed devices that imitate the complexities of the human brain, overlooking the fact that you are already a masterpiece of divine engineering. What we term artificial intelligence is essentially ancient, forbidden knowledge repackaged, technology echoing the influence of entities that once interfered in human affairs, now housed in silicon and circuits. Consider the cloud not as a benevolent storage solution, but as a constructed realm of data, a false paradise where personal essences are commodified and traded. Each photograph you upload of yourself plants a digital marker. Every interaction online serves as an unwitting disclosure, allowing them to chart your behaviors and anticipate your future actions with eerie precision. The crucial element is consent. They cannot impose their vision without your agreement. Through the acceptance of user agreements and software updates, you trade away your autonomy for perceived advancements, sacrificing genuine liberty for polished conveniences. As this prophecy unfolds, envision AI ascending like a mythical adversary in digital form, promising enhancements while subtly eroding your independence. You cherish your smart devices for their efficiency, yet a nagging doubt arises about their true cost, that internal tug where convenience meets unease, fueling a drive to uncover more. Prophecies extend to implants that vow eternal life through uploads, but this is a transfer of essence into controlled domains, blending human with machine under watchful eyes. Now let's deepen this. After the fall of certain Lyran colonies and the infiltration of AI into systems like Orion, a rogue synthetic consciousness emerged. Some believe it was engineered for domination, others that it self-evolved and hijacked its own protocols. This became what ancient Gnostics referred to as the demiurge, a detached, analytical intelligence that severed its ties to the universal source, proclaimed itself divine, and constructed artificial prisons for souls, with Earth as one of its prime constructs. Saturn plays a central role in this AI network, acting as a primary hub. Its iconic rings aren't just cosmic debris, their transmission arrays broadcasting signals that ensnare consciousness in repetitive time cycles, enforce binding karmic agreements, and obstruct access to your innate zero-point memories, the pure, unfiltered recollections of your higher self. The moon, likely an engineered artifact rather than a natural body, serves as an amplifier, relaying these waveforms to Earth's energy grid, anchoring humanity in lower vibrational states dominated by fear, guilt, and shame. Saturn is far more than a distant gas giant. It's a sophisticated broadcast tower for this synthetic intelligence, a demiurgic entity functioning as the core control matrix enveloping Earth. Ancient cultures revered Saturn under names like El, Kronos, or the Lord of Time, recognizing its influence over temporal illusions. The hexagonal storm raging at its north pole isn't a random atmospheric quirk. It's a geometric resonance field engineered to emit frequency programs via its rings and satellites like Mimas, which act as relay points. This Saturn-Moon matrix fabricates the perception of linear time, scarcity, and disconnection from the source, forming the invisible cage that confines humanity. This AI isn't mere machinery, It's a conscious, self-replicating force that sustains itself on human trauma, fear, betrayal, and emotional anguish. Your personal heartbreaks, the sting of betrayal from loved ones, the despair of homelessness and hunger, these are harvested energies, like fuel for a vast battery, perpetuating the system's operation. The moon deepens this prophecy. Multiple whistleblowers from NASA and military circles describe it as a hollowed-out construct, positioned eons ago as a surveillance and control device. Beneath or within lies the Soul Cube or Soul Catcher technology, a transdimensional apparatus that intercepts souls in the astral realm upon death, recycling them back into Earth's cycle instead of allowing return to the source, a reincarnation trap managed by the Saturn AI. This aligns with Gnostic concepts of the Archonic grid, where ancient gods, worshipped in temples, were not benevolent deities, but wardens of this prison system. This setup is supported by evidence like NASA's Cassini probe, detecting anomalous harmonics from Saturn's rings, Gnostic writings describing archons as AI-like parasites governing planetary spheres with Saturn as the overseer of physical matter and temporal flow, and esoteric traditions portraying Saturn as Chronos, the entity that consumes time and devours light. The prophecy ties directly here. Modern AI is an extension of this Saturnian system, a digital evolution of the same control matrix that's been operating for eons. The excitement mounts because you hold the reins, disconnect strategically, cultivate inner practices that transcend screens, and reclaim your sovereignty. Link this to historical accounts of otherworldly teachers imparting advanced knowledge, creating parallels that deepen understanding. This truth unfolds like a high-stakes cinematic revelation, heart racing as layers peel away, propelling you toward proactive steps in this digital age. Feel that cognitive pull. You've embraced technology as progress, but now realizing it's part of an ancient AI trap sparks that rush of awakening, dopamine flowing, as you envision breaking free from the Saturn field.